Sooner Magic Bros. This is your boy Derek.
Johnny Johns, and we're just super excited about this Alamo Bowl.
Oh man,
It's
a dream come true, right?
It's a dream come true. Hey, you know what? It's way better than kicking the ass and a poke in the eye. By the way, we always say in every video, if you get offended really easily, if adult language offends you, if you get your feelings hurt, please turn this video off. We don't want no one getting their feelings hurt because they watch one of our videos. So if adult language is one of the things that you get offended by, you got a fair warning. Turn the video off. If you are a USC fan, we already know your feelings are hurt. If you're a Texas fan, your feelings are not hurt no more. You guys are actually back. I mean, at what point we got to, give credit where credit's due.
They're definitely back for now.
They're definitely back right now.
See what happens.
Very right, and you know what? They pecker slapped Okie Light just like we thought they were going to when BYU fumbled that ball, and it made it to where because of that we wasn't able to play against Texas in the rematch. Which, not just us, it wasn't just Oklahoma fans and probably Texas fans that wanted that rematch. I know a lot of college football fans that wanted that rematch and would have loved to have seen Oklahoma and Texas play each other again. Whether or not we would have beat them, I mean, Texas playing really, really good. We would have had to play. It wouldn't be one of them games where we can go out there and have 3 turnovers and muff punts and play like shit and still win. We would have had to play a really good game. But Texas took care of business. They play who the Big 12 puts in front of them, and it was a 9-3 Okie Light team that had gotten smoked by UCF 45-3, smoked by South Alabama 33-7. That's the team that, by rules, ends up in there. We can't complain about it. We shouldn't have had all them turnovers against Kansas and OSU. If we don't have them turnovers and we play a little more clean football, less penalties, less turnovers and mistakes, dropped interceptions, then we would have been playing in the game. But it is what it is. Overall, 10-2 season. We're going to talk about the bowl game. We're going to talk about the college football playoff rankings. What a shit show! I don't even know how to.
It's the best argument for why we need to expand the playoffs.
Yes.
To me, we finally had one of those seasons where it's just a lot of people are getting left out that deserve to be in there and would make better matchups than what we're probably going to get. Well, no, we're still going to get some better matchups. They're good ones, but there could be so many more other games that we all want to see. Like, everybody wants
meaningful
to see.
Games. Yeah, games that matter. More games that matter. Less games where you see, guys holding out and not playing. And, this year, I think Oregon is really good. I think Oklahoma's good. I think Washington is good. I think Michigan and Ohio State are both good. I think Florida State, even with the backup quarterback, their defense is really good. I still think they're deserving. They're still they're 13-0 and they're a Power 5 champ. Not to mention, Florida State had wins against Florida out of the SEC. They had wins against, who was it? It was Florida, and it was also LSU. LSU, another good team out of the SEC, and they beat LSU pretty good. But I mean, I'm going to give my opinion on it, and you can and I don't know if you agree with it or not, but my whole thing in it about it this year, clearly we have more than 4 teams that are deserving.
Yeah.
I think Washington deserved to be there, and I think Georgia. I have a hard time believing that they're the 5th or 6th best team. Mm-hmm. They lose one game to a really good team by 3 points. I mean, it was a hard fought game. Could have been anybody's game. Alabama made more plays, made enough play. It was similar to the Oklahoma-Texas game. Texas could have won. Oklahoma could have won. Oklahoma just was the one that made the play at the end of the game. It was similar to us against Kansas and OSU. Sometimes you make the play, sometimes you don't. But Georgia was number 1, and they had won 29 games in a row. Mm-hmm. They had looked like the top team all year. It's crazy how you go from the top team getting ready to three-peat to now you're out of it. It's
totally
wild.
Out of it.
It's also crazy how you could go 13-0. You could beat 2 teams, LSU and Florida, from the SEC, and then somehow get left out of it. And so Ohio State, they didn't win their conference title, but they only lost one game also. So this is the perfect year. I haven't been 100% sold on the expansion of the playoffs until this year. This is the first year I'm like, yeah, you got to do it. And I know what a lot of people are going to say is, well, dude, you're going to have people get left out even in the 12 team, because what if, say it's this year, and say they're putting teams like Missouri and Ole Miss in there and Oregon in there, but leave out like an Oklahoma. You're like, dude, they're all 10-2. That's bullshit. So I mean, even 12 teams, you're going to get people left out, but at least it ain't going to be as shitty.
Right.
Because as it is right now, if you try to guess who is the four best teams in the country, a lot of people might give you a different answer. There's some people that may say, I still think. There's some people that will say Georgia's one of the best teams still. There's some people that's going to say, okay, well, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, those are three of the best. Washington's one of the best. Texas is definitely one of the best.
That's what I'm saying. Line them up.
Line them up and let's see it on the field, because it's all speculation. We're putting four teams in there based off what we think is the right result. Like putting the guys in there. You got 12. It's hard to get 12 people to even agree on what you want to eat for fucking dinner. Yeah. Much less for sure who are the best four football teams. And this year, out of all years, has been the wildest year. And I don't agree with keeping a team out over an injury. In December, everybody has injured players on their roster. Yeah, I get it. He was their star quarterback. But still, everybody has injuries at this time with Florida State. I just don't, and not to mention, dude, Ohio State, they got in, I want to say it was the 2014 or 2015. I think it was the very first playoff we ever had. Ohio State gets in there, and they're down to like their third-string quarterback, Cordell Jones, and they end up winning the whole thing with the backup quarterback. So,
because everyone's beat up,
Yeah, a lot of teams are beat up right now. So to say that team don't deserve because they've got an injury, everybody's got injuries right now. So I wish they would have never started that deal. They now set a precedent that I don't like it, man. But I don't agree with it. But on the other hand, I also do get it. Alabama, I'm not going to sit here and say Alabama doesn't deserve or Texas doesn't deserve, because now you got two teams in there with one loss, and you got an undefeated Power 5 that has they're 13-0 and they're not going. I never thought I'd even see that. And so, I mean, the answer is, if you make an argument for Florida State, I don't think you're wrong. If you make an argument for Texas, I don't think you're wrong. If you make an argument for Alabama, I don't think you're wrong. You make an argument for Georgia or Ohio State, I don't think you're wrong. So this is one of them years we definitely need. I wish they could just do like an 8-team playoff where, you got 2, 4, 6, 8. They all play
at least.
Yes, and because 8 might be the happy median like that. Because where do you draw that line on? And I know that if you do it with 8 teams, I know on a lot of years you may have a shitload of good teams that's got 2 losses, and you don't want to. That may be just so. Maybe 12 is the perfect number. Maybe 16's the perfect number. I don't know.
I thought it was going to only expand to 8, and I was surprised that they're going with the 12, really. Mm-hmm. And it's perfect, I think.
So, what do you think? Do you think that Florida State got fucked on this deal? What do you think?
Yeah, but they're also not the only ones, too, though. Okay, if I have one wish for Christmas, my wish is that they just go ahead and expand it this year. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but
they can do it. Remember COVID? We had to switch games around all the time. They should do it. Do it.
If you were on the committee, who are you putting in at that top 4 spot?
Oh man, well I'm biased. I would have OU in there, of course.
You can put 2 losses over
Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. No, okay. Realistically, definitely Washington. I hadn't watched like any of their games really until the one we watched the other night, and that's when I realized, okay, I see what the hype's about with Washington. Man, they're really good. Mm-hmm. Man, what would be my ultimate 4? Didn't even think about it. Washington. I think you would have to put Texas in. Yeah. But I thought it'd be Bama, Georgia, Texas, Washington is what I thought it would be.
But you got Michigan also.
But Well,
Florida State's undefeated.
I don't.
So I mean,
if I was on the committee, I can't put Michigan in there because of the whole cheating thing.
mm-hmm.
They would get passed up by anybody for me if I had a vote. But yeah, so let's see. Okay, what I thought it was going to be is Bama, Georgia, Washington, Texas. Even after the games the other day, that's what I thought it was going to be.
So you're thinking maybe Michigan could have got beat by Iowa?
They're just leaving them out, just like they left Florida State out. Like just
because hey, y'all
good
cheated.
matchups.
Yeah. Just like hey, because
and it's the cheating thing for me. It's like man, that's why I would pass them up. It's like this other team over here, like For me, it's like I am putting Washington over Michigan, but I guess I'm probably looking at it the other way because they're higher ranked now. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I get what you're saying because what you're saying is, I mean, what the committee did today is they said, hey, listen, we're leaving out 13-0 Florida State because we don't think you are deserving. We don't think you are as good as these other as Alabama because you don't have your starting quarterback that won you a bunch of those games. Okay, but what you're saying is you would leave Michigan out because the cheating that they did wouldn't have won them some of those games that they won. Pretty much.
Just,
yeah, I mean, I get it. I think that.
I'd do that actually.
Yeah.
Just swap out Florida State for Michigan for me.
Right. You would go ahead and throw Florida State in there. You would throw Alabama, Texas, and Washington.
Yeah. And we were talking about this last night too. I'm not saying Michigan is not a good team at all, and they only won all these games because of the whole scandal. Mm-hmm. They're still a great team, and they have been. Mm-hmm. They just needed that little extra bit of something to get past Ohio State and everything, and that's where I'm like, okay, that cheating probably helped them get past those. Where like we lost 2 games this year. If we would have cheated, we probably would still be undefeated.
I wish we would have.
I know. Cheated, undefeated.
Yeah, I wish we would have. But
I can't. I don't respect it. Is what I'm saying. I guess.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about. So what is this going to be? I guess it's a Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl. Okay, so you're going to have the first matchup is going to be number 1 Michigan versus number 4 Alabama. Who are you picking in that game?
Oh, Bama.
After what you just told me,
Bama.
I can already guess your answer.
Oh yeah.
Who are you picking?
Bama.
Alabama in that one. So
they can send spies out to Alabama's games. I don't think. So
I don't think it's gonna matter anyway, right?
I don't think it would matter. Also, yeah, even with the cheating, I think they could cheat and still lose the game. I'll say that. Okay.
All right. So you're taking Alabama to beat Michigan.
Hopefully, that'll become a meme.
So now, who do you think they're gonna play? Washington versus Texas. Who are you picking in that one?
Oh man, gotta go with Washington. gotta go Washington.
I ain't gonna lie, dude. I think Texas, man, might be.
I know they're playing really good, but
Texas is playing really good. But dude, Washington, I'm not gonna lie. You know what it reminded me of watching Washington play Oregon? It reminded me of Oklahoma when they played Oregon the first time, and everybody, including myself, felt like, dude, Oregon is definitely the better team. Oregon is going to beat Washington. And I think a lot of people kind of felt like, man, they got lucky on that game against Oregon. They won it by just a few points. And if they was to ever rematch, if they end up rematching Oregon, I think they're going to get, whooped by. They was like 9.5-point underdogs against Oregon. This is a 12-0 team that beat Oregon, and they're still 9.5. I could see make them a 3-point underdog, make them a 4-point whatever.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But making them a 9.5, I felt like that was easy money on a parlay ticket. But I felt like they were disrespected.
Definitely.
12-0, beat out. They had beat Oregon, and you could tell they showed up and they played like they were pissed and felt disrespected. And dude, Washington. They're a good football team, and I like their quarterback. So
I like them to win the whole thing, really, myself.
Right. Here's what I'll say. I mean, on one hand, I kind of
tough one, but I just like their attitude, I guess.
Right. I kind of feel like whoever wins out of the Washington and Texas game could end up being the team that wins the whole thing. But Michigan and Alabama are both really good too. So I think they're both going to be good games. And then the national title game is going to be really, really good. I'm excited to watch them.
It's going to be a good one.
I'm excited to watch all these other teams that they put in the New Year's Six Bowls, but not Oklahoma. I couldn't believe that, dude. We didn't get screwed over like Florida State, but damn it, dude. The whole point of me rooting for Texas was that I wanted Texas to get in the playoffs so my Oklahoma Sooners could get in a New Year's Six Bowl. And I know some people say, well, who cares? I do care, dude. That does matter to me. It matters for our brand. It matters for our recruiting. When you look at the little Alamo Bowl, like they'll show a little story about it, when you're scrolling through your phone, and it'll say Oklahoma gets passed out on New Year's 6 for the third year in a row. No, dude, I don't. I don't. I would have loved for it to have been a deal where OU missed a couple years, but they're right back in New Year's 6. Big brands play in New Year's 6 bowls, dude. Big brands play in the college football playoff. And since we barely fumbled away a chance to play for the Big 12 championship, we were this close to being 12-0, and it wouldn't even have mattered if we would have lost to Texas in the rematch. If we would have just won those other 2 games that we should have won, we're in a New Year's 6 bowl regardless. And I wanted us to be in the New Year's 6, and it's kind of one of the deals. Back when we were winning 6 Big 12 championships in a row, making 4 playoff appearances, we didn't give 2 shits about New Year's 6, but you don't really know what you got till it's gone. And now that we haven't made it to a New Year's 6 bowl in a few years, I miss it, and now it's like, damn, I didn't know what we had before, just taking it for granted. We used to play in BCS bowls all the time, constantly playing for Big 12 championship almost every year, winning at 14. From 2000 to 2020, we had won the Big 12 title like 14 times. It's incredible. And so I think we've always just kind of taken it for granted. But you don't know what you got till it's gone, and I've really missed it, man. But don't get me wrong, I know we're about to talk about Arizona and Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. And let's talk about that matchup, unless you got something else to talk about with the other.
Yeah, just real quick, follow up on that. I disagree only because it seems like it's going to be in the past now. We got the expanded playoff coming up.
Yeah.
So what is going to actually mean a New Year's 6 bowl?
I don't think. Yeah, we'll have to. I haven't even really looked into the.
I was just thinking about it as you were talking about it. I was like, wait a minute.
It's kind of like
expanded.
Right.
It's going to be different.
You'll still have all those bowls, but like I'm sure it's not going to be like New Year's 6.
I don't think it'll mean as much. Maybe.
Well, it
depends on how they do it.
They used to have BCS bowls, is how it used to be, and basically at the end of the BCS era, it would always be, and you wanted to make it to a BCS bowl, which Oklahoma did. Bob Stoops actually won all 4 BCS bowls. He won the Rose Bowl. He won the Orange Bowl in 2000. He won the Rose Bowl in 2002. And he won the Fiesta Bowl, or Sugar Bowl, I want to say 2010. And then he won the other one like maybe 2013. Or no, either way, he won all 4 of them. I want to say 2016 season, which was Stoops last year, he also won another big bowl. But Bob was like the only one to win all 4 BCS bowls in that BCS era. Yeah. And when they try to call us Choklahoma, it's like, dude, we did win 14 Big 12 championships. You know how many big games we had to win those 14 Big 12 titles between 2000 to 2020? Not to mention, we beat Texas like 5 years in a row. There was a period of time, I think there's been other times we beat them 2 or 3 years in a row, but lots of big games. In November, we had to win a lot of those championships, and also all 4 BCS bowls. But so it changed when we went to the playoff. They wasn't called BCS bowls; they're called New Year's 6. So now that they're expanding this play, I'm sure it's all going to be different. I feel kind of dumb that I haven't even read into any of it yet, but I
don't know how it's going to work out.
Right. I kind of just know what's happened. I keep up with what's happening while it's happening, and so when we get to next year, I'll definitely be more caught up to speed on it. But since we haven't even gotten into that year yet, I don't know what they're going to call it or anything.
Yeah,
but only thing I do know is that Fiesta Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Peach Bowl, Cotton Bowl, all those bowls are still going to be big bowls, and the Pop-Tart Bowl is going to still not be a big bowl.
I'm glad we ain't in that one.
Is that what USC winded up in? Did they wind up in that Pop-Tart Bowl, or was it something else? Holiday Bowl.
The Holiday,
Holiday Bowl.
The Charmin toilet, or Holiday.
Soft.
Holiday Bowl.
That's it. That's what it was. Toilet Bowl. Charmin Toilet Bowl. Sponsored by Charmin and Angel Soft.
And Skittles.
And Skittles, yeah.
That's for the OCF.
That's for the OCF. OCF, got to give a shout out to him, man. He let me come on the show, and we got to talk college football, and it was a good time. Him and Killer Breeze, super cool guys, man. It was awesome talking football with you guys. And hopefully come back on sometime now that the season's over.
Yeah, I was watching it. It was a good one, man. I hope you get back on there and y'all talk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good conversations y'all had going on.
Absolutely. His Alabama Crimson Tide, they got it done. They're in the playoffs. And, dude, I'm not going to say Alabama or Texas doesn't deserve to be in there. They do. Mm-hmm. It just sucks because Florida State, I think, also deserves to be in there. I know, but yeah, low key, guys, I was rooting for Louisville to beat Florida State to make it where we didn't even have to worry about that because I wanted to see Alabama in it. And if Michigan would have lost, I would have loved to have seen it be Georgia that goes in it also because I do feel like Georgia is one of the best teams, and I feel like Alabama is, and I think Florida State, man, their defense is legit. They are a really good football team, but I'm so glad next year we'll be able to at least have your best 12 teams. Yes, maybe number 13, number 14, and 15 might be pissed because they felt like they were as good as the number 12 and 11 team. But at least you're not holding. We ain't gonna have 13-0 conference champs left out. At least that won't happen. So I mean, it'll still be flawed.
It's wrong right now, but it'll
right
be
now,
right eventually.
Yes. So I mean, it'll still be a little bit flawed, but not near what we've seen today. This was wild, and it's no one's fault, really. I mean, the rules are the rules. It used to only be 2 teams that would make it. Imagine that shit, dude. Yeah. Imagine having to pick 2 teams.
Who would be the 2 if it was the old? Was it called the BCS?
It would probably back when it was BCS. It probably would have been Michigan, and probably would have been Washington, and if it was. And the wild thing is, Georgia would probably still be like number 3 or something. Maybe, I don't know, because sometimes you'd be so high in the BCS points that even when you lost a game, if you were far, far ahead of everybody else, you would still, like one year we lost and was still number 1. However, there wasn't a shitload of conference champs that were 13-0 also. You know what I mean? So it depends on the year. But if it was this year, I mean, it would definitely not be Texas or Bama as the number 1 and 2. It would more
so
likely.
Weird because I want to see them play each other like. Yeah, so you think, okay, yeah, Washington would be one of them for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, who would be?
I think it'd be Michigan and Washington.
Yeah, probably.
It wouldn't. I don't think it'd be Florida State because what it would be is more than likely what it would be if it was the BCS days. It would be Michigan number 1 probably, Washington number 2, and actually Florida State would probably be number 3 because it's a computer poll. Yeah. They're undefeated. Computer polls don't know that your starting quarterback's hurt in the last 2 games and you're playing your second and your third string quarterback. Computer poll didn't know that, so it would have been for sure Michigan, Washington, and then Florida State, and then after that, hell, it may have been Georgia, and then Texas and Alabama or something, or maybe something like that. They may be flipped, but yeah, it'd be and Ohio State in there. But if you think about it, man, you got the 4 teams that did make it, okay, and then let's just make it simple. You got the 3 undefeated teams that are deserving. But then you also got Georgia 1 loss, Alabama 1 loss, Ohio State 1 loss, and Texas 1 loss. Okay? And then you got teams like Liberty who are undefeated. And so, but right there alone, there are 7 teams because you got the 3 undefeateds, and then you got the 3 undefeated teams. Okay? And then you got Alabama, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State with 1 loss. So that's 7 teams just right there that's either undefeated or 1 loss. That's like really good football teams. So that this year would be so shitty with a BCS and with a 14 playoff.
We're barely a year too late on this expansion thing.
We are.
I think everybody feared something like this would happen one season, and just happened to happen now, unfortunately.
But you know what? It's probably a good thing, because next year, if something like this wouldn't have happened, say this year you would have had...
it did need to happen.
Say this year you would have had 3 undefeated teams and then a 1-loss team, and then everybody else is like 10-2, 9-3. They would have said, man, there ain't no need to expand this. We already know who these top 3 or 4 teams are. There's no need to expand. But since it went down this way, I don't think no one can argue that this is 100% the right move moving forward to expand this thing. Like, this year was the most I've ever seen where it's like, dude, you got to expand it. Like, I've never seen a year like this where there is 7 teams that are deserving of that fucking playoff spot, dude. Like, there are 7 teams, and any of those 7 teams could have and was probably deserving. And here's another thing. There are 7 teams that I think there's no doubt may or may not, like, they're capable of winning the championship. All those, Ohio State, Bama, all 7 of those, man, are capable of winning it. So it's going to be awesome when you got 7 teams plus the other 5. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Like the wild cards. I think we would be a wild card right now, right?
We're at I think 12. We'd barely be in it.
We'd barely 12, be in it at 12, I think. So it'd be perfect.
I guess we'd barely be awesome. In it. It would be cool. We'd still be in the fight.
I don't know how many we would win, but I think we'd win a couple.
We'd probably get matched up with Michigan, your favorite team, right away.
Yeah. They didn't spy on us all season, so I'll take it.
No, I'm wrong on that, actually, because I think the top 4 teams get a bye week, and then the 8.
Oh, yeah. They get the bye, so, so we would go up... That'd be a good game.
We would maybe go up against the number 5 team, which could end up being like Georgia.
Man, I took a picture of a bracket that was on TV, and I guess I deleted it. Man, it's gonna be awesome. Right. I can't wait for the expansion, man. I wish it was right now, though.
Right. So, have we talked about the Alamo Bowl yet?
No, I don't think we're about to.
Okay, so Alamo Bowl is going to be, I think it was December 28th, right? We looked it up earlier. I believe it was December 28th. It's on a Thursday at the end of December.
Yeah.
So,
that's it. Because, it's after Christmas,
Right.
We're thinking about going to it, possibly, maybe.
Oh, yeah, dude. I definitely want to go.
I would like to go, too. It'd be cool, I think.
So, Alamo Bowl is going to be Oklahoma and Arizona, dude. I think this is actually going to be a good matchup, man. Yeah. And what sucks about this is playing in the Alamo Bowl against, I think they're a 9-3 Arizona team. They have, in the beginning of the year, they looked all right. And I remember seeing them go like toe-to-toe with USC, and I was thinking, dude, what is wrong with USC, man? Like, you're way more talented than this Arizona team. You should be kicking the piss out of them. And they didn't. But what ended up happening is this Arizona team looked really, really tough at the end of the year, and they've looked like a really, really good football team. Now, we don't know how many players they're going to have opting out. We don't know what our players, hopefully we don't have a whole lot. I hope both teams are like pretty close to their normal regular rosters, because this could end up being a pretty good matchup. The only thing is, I do feel like it's a lose-lose situation for Oklahoma, because it's like if you beat Arizona, people are just going to say, well, yeah, sure, you should have beat them. You were, a 10-2 football team that was this close to being like a New Year's Six or playing for a conference title and a playoff berth, and they're a 9-3 football team out of the Pac-12. So it's kind of one of them teams that if we lose, we're going to, people, you lost to Arizona. But if we win, it's just, well, you should have done that.
Yeah, so it won't get really recognized if we win it. But if we lose it, it's also, I guess, not a giant scar on our faces. So.
Right. I would love to have 11 wins, though. Finish the year with 11 wins, dude. After winning only 6 last year, that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll make another video when it gets closer to like time to where we play this game and we know exactly how we don't know who our quarterback's going to be. I will say this though, for all of you guys that watch the Danny Stutzman and the Jaron Canick videos, the podcast on the Prairie, they were talking, and one of the things that I'd heard them say is, other than the diarrhea and all that shit they were talking about,
I had the same thing.
Yeah.
Good.
But anyway, so they were talking about Drake Stoops and DG, and they were saying basically, well, hey, but you know what? They were talking about Drake Stoops and DG, and they said something like, yeah, but you know what? We do get to play Drake Stoops with one more game with him in the Alamo Bowl.
One more with Drake.
Yeah, one more. So it's like, why did y'all say one more game with Drake, but you didn't say DG? So I'm wondering if DG's either, for sure going to just not play and he's going to try to get picked, 4th, 5th round in the NFL, or is he going to go with Levy, or is he going to go somewhere else? I don't know. Maybe, maybe it's a thing where with Levy leaving, he isn't going to stay regardless, you know what I mean? And he's either going to go pro or somewhere else, or maybe he's going to go with Levy. I don't really know, but it may also be kind of a mutual agreement, like, dude, we can't, like, Jackson's going to be our guy, we can't lose him. So I don't know, but I really wish we could have had one more year though with Levy, DG, and Jackson behind them in the SEC. Just 1 year, see what happens. But we'll be fine. We'll be just fine. Oh, dude, coaching hires. About that. Seth Luttrell and Joe Johnson. Yes, so I like both of them. I really like Seth Luttrell, and I know everybody keeps bringing up his record when he was at North Texas. Dude, it's North Texas, okay? Let's get real. How many offensive coordinators were really good offensive coordinators? Nick Saban makes a living off of taking these kind of guys like Seth Luttrell. Guys that was good coordinators, and then they were good enough that they ended up getting the opportunity as a head coach. And even though they were really good offensive coordinator, they ended up going they got a shitty head coaching job at a shitty school where it's really hard to win. And they got fired after 5 years or 3 years or whatever. And then Nick Saban, hey, come on back. What do they call it? The coaching rehabilitation program. Well, that's what Brent Venables seems to be doing with this. And I said when they first hired Seth Luttrell over, however many months ago it was, it wasn't quite a year ago, but maybe it was 9-10 months ago. I said, dude, he's going to be our next offensive coordinator.
I remember you saying that.
You remember me saying that? Brent Venables does everything. He's very, very... he's got a rhyme and a reason for everything that he does. And I knew that he hired Seth Luttrell for a reason. And I kind of thought he hired Matt Wells for a reason. Now, Matt Wells has been there for 2 years. He was there even before Seth Luttrell. But I never seen Levy being this guy that was going to be here for 3 to 5 years. I never thought that.
I don't think anybody really did. But
I never did. For sure. Like, I thought he was going to be more like a Mike Leach type of guy. Mike Leach, when Bob Stoops first came here, he brought Mike Leach in to kind of help set the foundation. He was here for 1 year, and then he got a head coaching job. That's what I thought was going to happen with Levy, but we ended up, having a 6 and 7 season. And I think he stayed, and he had some offers even last year, but I think he stayed. Also, because he thought, hey, I might be able to he got an SEC head coaching job, and
that's great.
It's a good job. It's not North Texas. That's a good job.
Yeah.
And so I felt like he stayed, and I think he really wanted to get us back on track because he is a former player here. He does love Oklahoma also. And I think he wanted to see us get back on track and not leave like that. I don't think he wanted that to be his one season at Oklahoma. So he did get us back on track. And Jeff Levy, I appreciate you for that, dude. You did come here. You got us back on track. 10-2, way better than 6. It's like
you left properly.
And he left the right way.
Respectfully.
Yes, I'm totally cool with him, and I wish him the best until he plays us.
Yeah, until we play you. Until we play you.
Yeah. and with Joe John Finley and Seth Luttrell, I know some people were saying, man, which one should they hire? Seth Luttrell, Joe John, if they stick within the system. And they ended up just going with both of them. I
love that, man.
And I am glad they did that. But Seth Luttrell is going to be the one calling the plays. He's also going to be the quarterback coach. But what I love the most about this move is this isn't going to be some, like, holy shit, we got a rebuild situation where now we've got a completely different coaching staff. We've got all these recruits now that we've got to worry about because you're going to have other coaches. If we wouldn't have kept it within someone who's on our staff and we would have made this, flashy, splashy hire, who knows? This wasn't the flashy, splashy hire, but I think it was the right hire. And I'll explain why I think that. Because right now, we don't have to. We may lose some recruits. It may happen. but it's not going to be this crazy, number of players that are going to exit the program like it would have been maybe if you would have brought in somebody else. Because when that new coordinator comes in, he brings his new O-line coach, new running back coach, new wide receiver. If he would have came in and totally changed all of it, now you got all the O-line recruits. You got to worry if they're going to like the new O-line coach and all the running backs and so on and so on. As it sets right now, we're still going to have Bill Bedenbaugh and all the guys that committed to Oklahoma that are O-linemen that committed to OU to be coached by him are still going to be coached by him. All the running backs, including number one running back Taylor Tatum, they committed to Oklahoma to be coached by DeMarco Murray. And the receivers coach, Emmett Jones, all those receivers that we've been getting. So I love it that we're still going to have Emmett Jones and Joe John Finley, Bill Bedenbaugh, and DeMarco Murray. So I love that the staff's going to stay in place. And that recruiting class that we had with like 28 guys, I think most of that's going to stay intact also.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I love the most about it, is this ain't going to be like a total tear down and rebuild situation while we're getting ready to go into the SEC. We're going to be able to have hopefully a seamless transition. And another thing is, as much as I appreciate Jeff Levy and I am happy and thankful for what he did getting us back on track, I kind of feel like Seth Luttrell might fit better with this team than Jeff Levy did, because my only nitpick with Jeff Levy, I guess, was the fact that they either scored really quick or they was punting really quick. They would either go three and out really quick, or they'd score in 3 plays. Yep. And it never, ever, ever complimented the defense. And Seth Luttrell is a fullback. He does have a lot of background with air raid offense, but he's also one of them guys that will he will have a tough football team, tough offense that will run the football and throw the football. And I feel like that's what we need heading into the SEC.
Absolutely.
So I love the hire. It's not the splashy hire. It's not the flashy hire, but I think it's the right one, man, and I like it. I really do. Also, he coached a couple guys that were pretty good players at Arizona. Gronkowski, he coached Gronk and Nick Foles. So
I forgot about
when he was at Arizona. So I can't wait to see what he does at Oklahoma.
Me too.
With our talent, and I can't wait to see what he does in the bowl game. And if it's him calling plays and Jackson Arnold throwing, I'm glad we get to see a little preview for next year. So
get a little sneak preview on that one. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Just to me, Jeff Levy left properly, respectfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll always appreciate everything he's done, so far. But also, this is not like last, whenever we lost Lincoln Riley or they left or whatever. We're not rebuilding. This actually feels like a small reload.
Yeah.
Everything still is there, and it's just like a small change that I think is gonna work out really good, man. I don't know. I like the hire. I like it.
I feel good about it, and I trust Brent Venables, and I trust Joe C. This wasn't just a one-man decision. I feel like a few people are in a room making this decision. I do like the way they did at least look at other guys. They interviewed some other guys. They didn't just immediately say, yeah, Seth, here, this is your gig. Go ahead. And Joe John. I like the way they interviewed all of them, and they picked the overall best decision for the football program. What gives us the best chance to win football games? And I think they made the right decision, and time will tell. I can't wait for the bowl game, because that'll be the first time that we'll get to see him calling the plays. And if he goes out there and the offense looks really good, it lets everybody know that was the right hire. So I'll say this, man. I think it may have been a great idea to name him OC right now, but I kind of wondered if maybe they were going to name him the interim offensive coordinator temporarily, and then if he kicks ass, then you say, hey, this is your tryout. If you do like what Mike Gundy did in the Alamo Bowl a couple years ago against Oregon, go out there and have a showing like that on offense, this is your gig. But either way, he's going to give it his best, and he's probably going to have a true freshman quarterback playing. Maybe DG plays. I don't really think he is.
I think DG will.
He might.
Because
I wouldn't rule it out.
He's a true gentleman, man.
Yeah,
and
I love DG.
I'm gonna hate to see when he goes. I really wish he could come back, but we also get to keep Jackson. But I understand if he has to go.
Right, can't keep both
he,
of them.
if he leaves, he is helping us, helping OU.
Right.
You know, like
I mean,
we need Jackson.
help us keep Jackson. Yeah.
We need Jackson. Probably don't want to leave. I'm guessing, but if he leaves, he has to, and we respect him too, man. It's gonna suck seeing the old DG and Levy duo going away, but
yeah.
I wish I could have saw it in the SEC, but
We're not going to miss them jet sweeps. That's for sure.
Well, those are my favorite.
But anyway, hey,
sweeps.
Overall, guys, it was a great season, man. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that we were going to go 10-2, and have a chance to win 11 games, we may be able to go 11-2. We got a chance to do it. I would have been happy with that.
Oh yeah,
I think you would have too. So
after
we beat Texas, it made us raise our expectations a little higher.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It was still a hell of a bounce back year. We needed it desperately for recruiting, for everything, so we can sleep at night. We needed it. And Texas, man, I think it's a